Hello and welcome to another episode of Football Talk Podcast. My name is Ozzie and I'm your host for today's match preview show. So entering match week 13 now, time's gone really quick. And this week, quite a few important games taking place, but being a Liverpool fan, I thought, why not? Let's do a Liverpool match preview. So today we'll be reviewing the Liverpool versus Southampton game. So actually, before I start doing the match previews, I wanted to speak about the sort of like the talking topic today regarding Jurgen Klopp and the press conference that took place where he was asked a question from an African journalist regarding his comments um, about him belittling the AFCON tournament that's taking place in January. My thoughts on that is that I think the journalist took it out of context in terms of what Klopp was trying to say in the press conference. He didn't directly mean that it's a little tournament. It was more of a sort of sarcastic sort of viewpoint, especially as everyone knows Klopp is one of those managers where he's been quite vocal regarding the international breaks and the international football, which is just like constantly around the corner sort of thing. So I didn't think he meant any sort of negativity towards the actual competition. It's just sort of like a way of speaking, I guess. So it's probably, even though he's not a native English speaking person, but I guess he's picked up the English sarcasm in that regards. But yeah, I think it's a bit overboard. I've seen the comments on certain accounts where predominantly 90% of the fans are pretty much like the journalist was a bit out of order, a bit random in terms of asking that question, as it really didn't have anything to do with the victory that happened against Porto midweek. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. I think it's a bit far-fetched. I don't think he deserved that sort of not abuse, but it was kind of like uncalled for. People say he should have apologized, and honestly, I don't think he needed to apologize. He didn't say anything wrong. I'm probably just as stubborn as Klopp, where I would probably have had the same stance and would say, no, if you're taking my words out of context, then that's for you to kind of figure out and just take whatever meaning you feel like you need to take from it. So yeah, obviously people say I'm biased because I'm a Liverpool fan and I hold Klopp to a very high regard, but it's the honest truth. If I was in his shoes, I'd probably react the same way. So yeah, just something I thought I'd mention before I start the show. But back to the Liverpool game itself. So Liverpool in the last few games have been doing well, to be fair. Obviously, the defeat against West Ham did take the sting out of our form. And then we had an international break. So which just felt like forever, to be honest with you. But then eventually we were able to play Arsenal last weekend and regain some momentum. And then we had a game against Porto yesterday, which was pretty much a walk in the park again. We definitely made the group of death look like the easiest thing possible. We've won all of our games. We haven't dropped any points. I believe we've only conceded a couple goals as well. So in terms of favourites going to the Champions League, you have to consider Liverpool as one of the favourites. And that's not me being biased there at all. We've just shown great form, especially in sort of knockout competitions. We just know how to get the job done. And for me, Atletico Madrid weren't challenges to us in any shape or form. We were quite superior in both of the games. Porto, respectively, pretty much easy game for Liverpool whenever we play them in the Champions League. So great for us. We don't have to really focus too much in terms of the final game coming up in the next few weeks. But it was good to see some youngsters coming. So Tyler Morton as well came on. For me, did a great job. Looks a good player. Whenever I've seen him play, definitely looks like he's been playing for a long time. Very mature in his display. Great variation in his passing. Gets stuck in there as well, which is nice to see from a youngster. So another midfielder coming through the ranks, which is always welcomed, as I'm sure you would agree as well. seeing your own players coming through the academy and making it to the first team football is always a nice feeling to see. So yeah, he did fantastically well. Obviously, you had Taki, who had some minutes on the pitch, and Thiago Alcantara. What a goal he scored! I don't think I have enough words to describe how amazing that goal was. He's looking like he's back to form now. Um, for me, his quality has never been in question. I know a lot of people have split opinions about Thiago in terms of maybe he's not suited to the league or the way that Liverpool play and all sorts of reasons. But for me, it's just been a thing where he's been injured quite a few times. And whenever he's come back, he's not been able to have that rhythm in the team. He's that sort of player where I feel like when he has a consistent games played, that's where he finds his rhythm. That's where he's able to flow and play to his capability. And, he's a flair player. I know he's regarded as a defensive mid at times or like a number 6 or number 8, but he plays with flair. You just see how technically gifted he is. So hopefully he's able to stay fit. I know we've got rigorous fixtures coming up very soon. Actually starts from next week where there's a lot of games being played Monday, Tuesday and Thursday. So yeah, lots of games coming up next week. So interesting to see how Liverpool set up. Regards to Southampton, they've been in decent form. They've picked up a few wins recently. So in the last 3 games, they were able to win against Watford 1-0. They beat Aston Villa 1-0 as well, which led to Dean Smith being sacked and then Steven Gerrard appointed as the new manager, and also Norwich, which they lost unfortunately. So only 3 wins this season, and they were all 1-0 victories. So you can kind of see the weak point for Southampton that they haven't got the goals as previous seasons. Obviously, they're probably missing Danny Ings, but I feel like they've got a good player in Adam Armstrong who looks like he will be able to score goals in time to come. But I feel like maybe it's a bit too much pressure on his shoulders. Shea Adams, for me, has done fantastically, scored some great goals in recent weeks. But at the same time, maybe that's a bit of sort of heavy shoulders on both of those players. Maybe the midfielders or the wide players need to contribute. But the way Southampton set up, the wide players are literally there to provide the width and the service to the strikers. And the midfielders aren't predominantly known as goal scorers. They're more defensive minded. So it's just the way Southampton set up. But for me, they've got some great talented players there. One of the standout performers this year has probably been Salisu, the centre-back, who's looked really solid there, alongside Bednarek as well, which I think some may have been surprised with because of the loss of Vestergaard, who went to Leicester City over the summer. So they don't seem like they've missed him one bit. And the new signing of Livramento, for me, is just like a breath of fresh air for Southampton, where he's so flamboyant in terms of his play. Can play right back, can play right mid as well. Bombs the wing really well and has good end product at the same time. So an exciting player for Southampton fans there. You've got Kyle Walker-Peters, who's just returned from injury as well. So, positives for Southampton. I know Redmond has been injured, but I believe he might be available for this game. So remains to be seen. I know Southampton do have quite a few injuries in their squad right now. But let's sort of predict the lineups that I feel like we'll possibly see in this fixture this weekend. So for me, the Liverpool lineup, Alisson pretty much a shoe in terms of goalkeeping position there. Back 4, Trent Alexander-Arnold definitely will start. No injuries from the midweek game at all, which is good. Konate had a game against Porto midweek, but for me, I would prefer to play Van Dijk and Matip as they're the formidable partnership in our squad. So that's the centre-back pairing I'd go for. And I'll actually play Tsimikas in this one. I'm not entirely sure how far Robertson is in terms of his injury, but I feel like Tsimikas has been in great form. He deserves a run in the team. So I'd definitely start with Tsimikas in this game. The midfield, bit of a tricky one. I think Fabinho pretty much is a shoe-in terms of that defensive midfield position. Henderson has been in and out of the team due to injury. I'd probably start him in this fixture, which probably would be a disappointment for Oxlade-Chamberlain, who's actually played really well in recent weeks. But I feel like maybe just a slight break for Oxlade-Chamberlain would help him continue his form. As you know, you don't want to burn him out so much. And like I mentioned earlier on, we've got so many fixtures piling up from next week. It would be a bit smart to use him sporadically rather than continuously to avoid any further injuries to our squad. So I would go with Thiago and Henderson in the midfield, and the front three is pretty much shooing in terms of Salah, Mane, and Jota, as Firmino is still not available to play. Taki Minamino has been doing really well as well, but I feel like for him, a place in the bench would be right. He'll be able to come on and make an impact. So yeah, so good sort of options to have on the bench there. But that would be my lineup for Liverpool. In terms of Southampton, it's probably not too dissimilar to their last starting lineup against Norwich. So McCarthy in goal, Livramento pretty much the right back for Southampton there. Then I've gone for Bednarak and Salisu as the two centre backs, and I've gone for Carl Walker-Peters left back position. Probably not orthodox in that place, but I feel like he is one of the top performing defenders in the team. So it's only right that they find a place for him, as Livramento has been the shining light for Southampton this season. In midfield, I'd probably go with Diallo, who's been quite impressive whenever I've seen him play. Ward-Prowse and Romeu as well in the centre of midfield. And I think Redmond will be fit. So if he's available, I'd probably go for Redmond on the left wing. He'll probably provide a different dimension to that squad with his pace, and even end product got some good crossing ability, can score as well, especially from outside the box. Plus, you've got Walcott to come on to make an impact. So I'd probably go with Redmond to start the game and then probably have Walcott introduced in the latter stages. And then you've got Armstrong and Adams, who for me have shown some glimpses of good quality this season. Adams has been more sort of consistent in terms of goal scoring, but Armstrong's looked decent to me as well. He's just not able to match the numbers at this stage, but hopefully that will pan out for both of the strikers in the near future there. Just got another comment from Madison Smith. A lot of football left, but what team do you like for the fourth spot in the Premier League? Does United get it together? Oh, United is a difficult one to kind of predict at this stage, because I'm not sure what the speculation is regarding the interim manager. So I was reading early on today that Ralph Ragnick, who used to be he was the director of football at Red Bull Leipzig, but was also manager there as well. Currently in a sort of head of sports and sort of position for Lokomotiv Moscow. So apparently that is the latest news that he will become the new interim manager, and then as the season ends, he will be positioned as a consultant for the club, so helping the long-term manager in the future with recruitment and stuff. So an interesting appointment if that is actually the one that happens, because it's a different approach, as most people probably would have gone for a more of an experienced head just to kind of balance the ship as the season ends, and then go for that top manager that they're after. But this is not a bad approach either, because I think with Ralph Ragnick, he's proven that he's able to compile a good squad of players. He's got an eye for young players. He's highly respected in the coaching world as well. So I think it's not a bad appointment, to be honest. It's an interesting one. In terms of him as a manager for Manchester United, it might be a completely different level. But at the same time, I don't think the expectations will be very high, as his future is sort of panned out towards the end anyway. So, yeah, interesting to see it in terms of Manchester United. But in regards to your question about fourth spot, it's such a tricky one, because I think with United, we're still a bit unsure in terms of how their season will end up. But you've got Arsenal, who are showing some rich vein of form. Tottenham have picked up a win, and they're seventh right now. So if they were able to win this weekend, they'll be around the fourth and fifth position as well. So it's definitely between those three teams. I think Leicester City are dropping off a little bit, unfortunately. For me, they're not as consistent. I think the strength and depth in terms of their squad is quite apparent, as whenever they miss a couple of players in the starting lineup, they do tend to drop off quite a bit. So if I was to make a bold prediction at this stage, might even go for Arsenal as fourth. Um, but the key for Arsenal is to be consistent, because they've done really well to notch up consecutive wins against the lower teams. But obviously, when they faced Liverpool, it was just a different level for them. So, there's no shame in losing to Liverpool. Just ask Manchester United fans. But it can be a thing where that might be a wake-up call. That might just be one bad day in the office, but they're able to be consistent as time goes on. So, yeah, I'd probably predict for Arsenal right now. Maybe I'll ask this question in a few months' time. It might change. But at this stage, I'll probably favour Arsenal, to be honest with you. Okay, and speaking of Arsenal, let's do some predictions for match week 13. So yeah, I'll share a screen with you guys. Then you can view what I'm seeing right now. So here is the fixtures coming up this coming week. So speaking of Arsenal, it is the first game that's being played midday kickoff. So you've got Arsenal and Newcastle. For me, this game is pretty much a win for Arsenal. I don't see it going any other way. Obviously, Newcastle, a lot of buzz in terms of the new takeover, but it's not implemented on the pitch right now. Eddie Howe has just been appointed as the new manager, but at this stage, he needs new faces, in my opinion. I think he's just managed one game so far. So for me, I haven't seen much to say that, he's going to improve right away. But it's obviously clear that he needs some new faces. Interesting to see who they would target in the January window. I might even do an episode to kind of highlight what type of players they should go for. But I feel right now the important thing is to try not to drop as much points as possible, even if it's a few draws, the odd win here and there, just to keep them sort of level above the third relegation spot, as they're pretty much 19th now, I believe. So, yeah, it's not going to be an easy one for Newcastle. So regarding this game, I'll give a prediction of 3-0 to Arsenal. And then the following game, which I just highlighted, the Liverpool and Southampton, I actually didn't give a prediction there. So I will give a prediction. Probably think I'm being biased. Just because I'm a Liverpool fan. I can't see it. I can see it's been a big scoreline. So I'm going for 4-0 again for Liverpool there. I don't see Southampton troubling Liverpool whatsoever. But we'll see how that goes. Norwich and Wolves. So Norwich were able to claim their win last week against Southampton, and the previous week as well. So two wins on the bounce. A team on form right now. Wolves have been pretty much hit and miss right now. They got the win last week with a Jimenez finish. So this one, I'm going to give it a draw. I think it'll end 1-1. I don't see a clear win in this one. The next one, Crystal Palace versus Aston Villa. So you've got two of probably one of the greatest midfielders in Premier League history in Patrick Vieira and Steven Gerrard managing Premier League clubs right now. Crystal Palace have been one of the teams that I've been very impressed with this season. Like the brand of football that they're playing. Aston Villa, for me, did some good recruitment over the summer, but they haven't lived up to the promise at this stage. But under Gerrard, I'm sure things will change. So this will be an encouraging game to watch, actually. I think it will be full of goals. I'll give this a 2-2 scoreline. I think it will have ups and downs, but I feel like it will conclude as a draw. Then you've got Brighton versus Leeds United. That's a tricky one. Brighton, for me, very strong at home. I think they'll nick the win for this one. I think it'll be 2-1 to Brighton for that fixture. Then you've got Brentford versus Everton. Everton have been in poor form in the last few weeks, which is a shame because they were showing some great form earlier on. Great performances from Townsend. Demarai Gray has been probably the spark in that team right now. And Doucouré as well has been one of the standout performers in midfield this season for me. So it's a shame in terms of how they have performed Maybe it's due to lack of strength and depth as well. This is a bit of a hard one to call. Brentford are very strong at home, but I feel like Brentford haven't been in best of form in the last few weeks as well. So I'll give it a home win. So it'll be a 1-0 to Brentford. I'll probably predict Ivan Toney to score the goal there. And then the next fixture, big one, Man City versus West Ham. So pretty much a top 4 battle there at this stage. Man City, West Ham. I'll give it to Man City to win 3-1. I think Man City will have too much firepower for West Ham. The next fixture, Leicester City versus Watford. Watford obviously coming back from a fantastic win last week, 4-1 against Manchester United, so confidence should be high. Leicester City lost last week against Chelsea. Oh, this one's a bit of a tricky one as well. I have a feeling Leicester might nick this one, to be fair. I'm going to give it a 1-0 to Leicester City, sorry. I think it'll be a home win. And then you've got 2 more fixtures. So you've got Burnley versus Tottenham. So at home, so never easy to get a point or any points at Turf Moor. Tottenham team for me aren't playing the best football right now, but they were able to get a win last week, so maybe that's added some confidence in that squad. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I don't see it being a match full of goals, to be honest with you. And I don't think Tottenham are playing with such freedom that they would score plenty of goals in this game. So I'll go for a 1-1 for this. And then probably one of the biggest games this week, actually. Chelsea versus Manchester United. So Chelsea have been very consistent, top of the league right now. Manchester United have a new interim manager in Michael Carrick. So I've heard a lot of people say Carrick's on the wheel. So it is what it is, I guess, in terms of that. Sorry, United fans. I don't see anything but a Chelsea win here. I'm going for 3-0. I don't see much changing. I know they won midweek against Villarreal. Goals coming from Ronaldo and Sancho. I hope Sancho gets a run now because he showed his quality in that game, and playing on the right-hand side suits his ability there. Great goal as well. Nicely taken in terms of controlling the ball and smashing it onto the bar. So hopefully he gets a run of games. And then Greenwood as well. I'd love to see Greenwood on the pitch. But Chelsea are too robust, too powerful right now, and they won't be trouble. So I'll go with a 3-0 win for Chelsea there. So we've just got a comment here from Madison Smith. Should Newcastle try and bring in players during January to help them stay up, or accept the relegation and build a team for the long term? Very, very good question. So when I gave my thoughts on the appointment of Eddie Howe, I feel like that appointment was based on that if they were relegated, they have a man in place who wouldn't walk out from the club and would try to get them back into the Premier League next season. So I was a little bit skeptical of the appointment. I feel like it lacked a bit of ambition, but you can look at it both ways. If they were to get relegated and they had a top manager, who would they get from there onwards? So I personally think they should try and bring in some players within the Premier League, just to kind of have that sort of players that will literally come in straight away and make an impact, similar to how Willock did last year. He was phenomenal. Look for sort of players that are on the fringes of their team. So look at the top teams. If there's any squad players that aren't really getting much game time, get them on loan. So I'll give you an example. I think Lingard would be a great option for them. I believe he's on the verge of completing his contract, but won't get an extension at Manchester United. So he could go there on loan. And if he's happy there, he can sign a contract at the end, or just sign straight away. I'm sure Manchester United wouldn't block that path if that was the case. I think a defender, definitely. I think a Premiership proven one, maybe someone like a Tarkovsky from Burnley, who's been in the league for a while. Obviously, it's going to cost a bit, but I don't think money is an issue at Newcastle. So someone like that, I think, would really help. I wouldn't recruit too many players. I think you've got the right thinking there that, they can't go and just buy any players. It's not FIFA. It's not how it works. So I'd probably look for 3, 4 players, probably one in every department. So a defender, midfielder, and attacker, and get them on loan, get them on sort of short-term deals. It doesn't have to be big signings, and try and change their season right now, because for me, it's not looking positive, unfortunately. There was a buzz when this takeover happened, but you have to look at what the current team is going through. And right now, there's no signs, unfortunately. Like Willock, for a player who's got such great potential, hasn't shown much of it this season. Hasn't scored, I don't believe, any goals in his 8 games that he's played. Joelinton's not prolific in that team. Callum Wilson, good player, but unfortunately is injury prone as well. The sort of bright light in that team is Saint-Maximin. For me, fantastic player. So keeping him fit is important. Lascelles as well, who is the captain in that team, is very important in that team. Scored last week as well. They've got Jamal Lewis, who doesn't play much, unfortunately, but is a player I highly rate as well. So I'm surprised he doesn't get that many games. Maybe under Eddie Howe, things will change. They've got some decent players there, but I don't think it's a huge surprise in terms of where they are in the league, as they heavily rely on these players that I've mentioned. So without these players being on form or even available, it really hampers their progression in the league. So yeah, certainly they have to sign some players in January. If I was working for Newcastle, I'd probably suggest that they look for Premier League proven players rather than go for a big signing from a different league. If Premiership status was kind of secured at that stage, then that's the kind of move you'd go for. But at this stage, they're in a relegation battle. There's no way of looking around it. So yeah, I'd definitely go for a few Premier League players there. I think I'll definitely do an episode and try and highlight what type of players I'd go for, because I think it's an interesting topic. But let's see how the season goes, because in December, they might have really improved, or they might have been so bad that they're literally bottom of the league, and it would probably be the latter of your question, where they might have to accept relegation before even January happens. So yeah, we can revisit that and see how that goes. But that concludes our show for today. So thank you to everyone who's tuned in, and thank you to Madison Smith with the comments there. Please, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to like and subscribe. We appreciate the support. I've started a new show on Instagram, so if you are on Instagram or if you follow me at Ozzie.ftp, make sure to tune in every Mondays at 8 p.m. I just had a look at the fixture list before we started the show. So next week there's matches on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So normally I do episodes every Tuesdays and Thursdays, but it'll be a little bit different next week. So my next episode will be on Monday. Misspelled Monday there. On Monday, sorry, at 10 p.m. So what I'll do, I'll still do my sort of scheduled show on Instagram, where it's literally for the fans. So if anyone wants to come on and have a say or give an opinion about their team or anything that's happened during the weekend, I'd love for you to come on the show. So just make sure to log in your Instagram or visit my profile at 8 p.m. and send your requests anytime during the show, and I'll try and get you on as soon as possible. I'd love to hear from you guys in terms of your views. If you've got a rant to do, just do what you have to do. That's why I've named it Talk That Talk. So it's an open platform, so feel free to express yourselves there. And then I think the next episode after that will possibly take place on Friday, which is the 3rd of December. Well, it's December now. So So it will be Monday and Friday next week, but pretty much same format. Lots of games coming up. So yeah, it'll be good for us neutral fans. Hopefully we'll get some exciting games with lots of goals. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. But as always, thank you again for tuning in. I hope to see you guys on Monday on Instagram, hopefully, and also on YouTube at 10 p.m. on the same day. So you'll see me twice. Hopefully, not too much for you guys. But yeah, hope to see you guys soon. Take care and God bless.